All right, cool. We're good then. All right, so turn off your mics and your cameras, and I'm gonna play the intro. What's up, guys? Good evening, and welcome to Smoke and Mirrors. How's everybody doing today? As you can see, we have a guest today. our multiple guests. We have our weekly new Monday night guest, and Kaylee, who happens to be very vocal tonight. And we also have Josh Corbin, the resident 49er fan, joining us once again this week, filling in for Steph while Steph, gets a night off. Don't worry, Steph. We got some takes that when you come back on Friday, I want to chastise you for. So we'll get to that. But guys, how was your weekend? Deck, how was your weekend?
Weekend was pretty good. I think I'm 11-2 this week, so I'm happy with that. Otherwise, one weekend of football for everyone who's not a Giants fan. How it was, but otherwise, good weekend.
What about you, Josh?
Our weekend was great. I mean, started out with my Saturday, which was phenomenal. Florida State had a bye week, and I saw Miami and Florida go down. So it was
Of course.
It was a tremendous weekend to be a Knoll. And then simultaneously, this is not even done on purpose. The 49ers had the week off. But with that said, the only team I got to see go down that I really cared about was the Seahawks. Other than that, the ring for the Giants. Even when I root for the Giants, I still get angry for them. And then Arizona beats up on the Browns. So, no, pretty good weekend though.
That's good. I also had a pretty good weekend. The birthday weekend. Wife surprised me with the staycation in the city. Got to eat at a dope restaurant. Only thing I didn't like about the weekend was paying $62 for 2 hours of parking. It was kind of wild. I'm sorry, 2.5 hours.
But happy birthday, though. Birthday was yesterday.
Yes, thank you.
Very exciting, I would say.
Yep, it definitely was. But let's get into the sports stuff. So, been a lot of baseball being played, especially, for those of us that dislike baseball. This segment's especially for you. Okay. Before we get to the excitement in the NLCS, let's talk about the ALCS, because we had a tale of two games, really, where we had game one with the Astros kind of doing what the Astros do. Go down, they fight back, and they scratch out a W. That's been their MO. It's kind of what they do. We said that's what they would do, on the Friday show. But then we had game 2 where JD Martinez kind of just took the wind out of their sails by himself with the 2 grand slams in back-to-back innings. So what's your take on this series, Josh?
Well, speaking as a Yankee fan, I don't like either team.
This is such torture for us,
you know that, and Boston is Boston. But I think that this series is exactly how I thought it would be. I mean, you have 2 teams that are really good, and in fact, I was doing some research. 3 out of the last 4 World Series have been played by these 2 teams, and it's going to be 4 out of the last 5 if you count this year. And one of these teams represented the AL. So like they're clearly, and I hate to even say this, they're clearly, the best 2 teams in the American League. And they get the Dodgers or the Braves, in which, the Braves, I have and I know we're going to get to it, but my heart screams for the Braves right now.
You and every other Yankee fan, Eddie Gonzalez, one of our other contributors, refuses to root for any team in the ALCS and is just saying "Go Braves" every game.
Yeah, I'm on the train, Eddie. I'm on the train. I don't like Eddie, but in the because like these guys, man, the Astros are cocky. They
have every right to be. Just saying.
Ariel, they always gotta look at their bench, even when there's like a single. Like, stop looking at your bench, guys. Like, it's gonna be all right. It's just a single. But like these guys, man. But and then Boston is Boston. Like I said, they don't have anybody that I truly hate in Boston. But
I agree. They are likable in a weird way. Verdugo is very likable. I think they are a likable bunch. I'm still rooting for the Astros. As far as the ALCS goes, it'd be great to see the Braves. I mean, they're already up 2-0, so which is insane. So it'd be nice to see the Braves win. But from a Yankee fan standpoint, I almost want to root for the Dodgers, just solely based on the fact that I think that would be the best chance that an American League team loses. But that said, I mean, shout out to what the Braves are doing. And in my heart, I'm rooting for the Braves, obviously, as the underdog.
Pretty much every Yankee fan, in their heart, outside their heart, all they want to do is see the Braves win because they can't root for any other team.
It's not just Yankee fans. I think all of America is rooting for the Braves right now. The Dodgers aren't liked outside of LA.
No, they're like the Yankees of the West.
Yeah, they're the Yankees of the West, except they've won, instead of winning once in 10 years, they've won once in 30 years.
Right.
So, question.
I threw that one in there for you, John. You know what I mean?
Question for you guys. If there was a Boston Dodgers World Series, who are you rooting for?
Is Kaylee also a Yankee fan? I gotta ask. And what kind of question is that, by the way? I mean, did you actually just ask that question?
I had to ask. Who are we rooting for? Because you just said there's actually not anybody you hate on the Red Sox. I was just curious to see where you would go with that.
Well, I hate the name. I hate the name itself. The name sake of Boston.
I just want to know where you stood, just so we're clear.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to root for the Red Sox because I don't think I think they're a likable team. Like, I can acknowledge, like, it's not the same team that has, playoff beards out to the letters on their jersey and like these obnoxious guys that, whatever. But I don't have a hatred for them. Like Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, like these are really good players. Sale's annoying a little.
I agree. JD Martinez, like very
great guy.
likable dudes. But I mean, the reason why I at this point now I need the Braves to get there is because they were in the same exact position last year. They were up 2-0, and they were even up 3-1 and lost the series. So
with Acuna,
Atlanta, and plus Atlanta probably has a lot of New York transplants. So I will call it's mini New York down there. So like
I think that's accurate. I think that in Florida, a lot of New York transplants.
That in Florida. I mean, but like I really, the Dodgers, and plus I don't like how the Dodgers outbid the Yankees on some of these free agents either. So that kind of kills me and it pisses me off. But
Seager, listen, I'm saying it now. I mean, Andrew Kahn said it months ago. But I would love to see Seager in pinstripes, and I think they'll get him.
Yeah,
Great left-handed shortstop.
We got to flip the roster a little bit. I mean, I could turn this into a Yankee pod or a Yankee show all day long, but Greg wouldn't like it with that orange and blue. Just
I can talk Dodgers. I mean, not Dodgers. I can talk Yankees all day. Doesn't mean I like it, but I could do it.
I mean, I believe it. While Greg is tending to our favorite crying Yankee fan in Kaylee. We're going to talk a little bit about the Dodgers Braves game 2. Austin Riley, obviously being the showrunner, the headliner. What did you think about Jock Peterson? Speaking of staring into the dugout after he hit that moonshot against his former team.
First of all, I love the pearls. The pearls. I'm with the pearls. Jock Peterson he's one of my he's starting to grow on me a little bit. I like it because
he wasn't as likable in LA.
He wasn't. But you know what it is? He's not afraid of his old team, and like he brings it right to him. And he's a competitor, and I love seeing competitiveness. I think what's hurting the Dodgers more than anything right now is they don't have Justin Turner. Justin Turner is he's big time, and I think he's hit like 13 postseason home runs for them or something like that. And
he's always been clutch.
Yeah, and I think that's some. I mean, these games are close. They need someone to come up big, or at least someone that the Braves, like another person that the Braves fear in the lineup.
For sure, and I think that's definitely accurate. And to address the comments, just because I wasn't on the feed earlier, Zane, our resident Astros fan, I hate answering him just because he's an Astros fan, but he is a nice guy and a very unbiased Astros fan. My ALCS game prediction. I never got to make a prediction on air, but I could tell you now. My prediction was and would remain the same. I have the Astros in 6. This game could go 7. It really could. But I have the Astros in 6. I think they'll get it done. But the Red Sox have definitely shown that they're much better than they're feeding right now. Look at this. I thought that was Greg breaking in back into the Zoom with some stuff there. But Justin Holch, my boy, also says in the comments, rooting for the Astros to get my man Dusty a title. Dusty Baker, I've said it and I'll say it again. He has been such a likable guy. He's obviously such a likable manager, but he's the perfect manager for that team. A guy with not as much haters, a guy who's been a consistent manager, a great baseball guy, and a respectable clubhouse guy that's been around the league for many years now. He's managed like 5 different teams. He's taken them all very far respectively. So it would definitely be nice to see him get a ring. I'm rooting for the Astros to get past the Red Sox, yes. But as long as the title stays in LA or goes to the Braves, I'll be happy.
I am not. I just can't bring myself to root for the Astros at this point.
Listen,
I cannot. I can bring myself. I can't bring myself to root for the Red Sox either. But I will be a impartial person and say that I think that the Astros will win. I think I want to say 6 as well, but I think if the Red Sox had a full if they had a full out healthy Chris Sale, I think that would have been a different story in that series because you get Chris Sale twice. But I think that the fact that they don't have Chris Sale at full strength, I think that's what the turning point of the series will be because hitting wise, I think the Red Sox are just as good, if not better, in terms of hitting. But pitching, I think Chris Sale is the one that made the difference for me.
So real quick, I want to talk about the problems. Also, Josh, I just want you to admit that the Astros last 5 years is the best team in baseball overall.
I will not admit that.
But you know what, Josh? Can we just talk about this? And first of all, Lance McCullers not being there for the Astros, he's a question mark. Hopefully,
he is a question mark.
That's big for them.
Same thing with Sale. I mean, both are needed.
Yeah, totally. But Josh, can we just talk about for a second? They get 1 ring in 5 years, and now we're taking bows. They've lost the last 4 years in the postseason.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
So they've made it to 5 consecutive ALCS. Yes or no?
Yeah, and they lost what 3 of them.
Did they make it? To,
Are we handing out participation trophies here?
We're not going to do that because if the Yankees had made it to 5 consecutive ALCS and made it to a bunch of World Series within that span, we would not have ended it. So I'm not going to let
That's not true. That's not true.
Stop
when
it.
The
You
Yankees
fans are full of it.
Not true.
This guy,
you guys are full of it.
This guy's ridiculous. I can't.
Because Yankee fans have been bragging. No.
It's nuts, right?
Yankee fans have been bragging about the fact that they've made it to the ALCS or
I have not. We haven't.
Who's been bragging about making it to the ALCS?
Declan, I have endless screenshots of you bragging about the Yankees.
How can Yankees fans be happy with getting eliminated in the ALCS?
But you
just let me finish this.
But then
nobody gives a shit. No one cares. First of all,
now you're just lying to the people.
Yankees fans who you say are spoiled, and they are. Josh is more spoiled than I am because I've seen mediocrity for the last 10 years. Making it to the postseason. Boone's made the postseason every year of his managerial career. I want him fired. Does that sound like I'm bragging about everything he's done?
Just
Absolutely
because you want
not.
him fired doesn't mean you can't brag. The two are not mutually exclusive because you have done it and people have witnessed it.
I'm going to tell you this. I've only bragged about the Yankees making it to the ALCS one time, and that was in 2017.
Yes, and that was completely fair.
When they weren't supposed to go. Like, they weren't even supposed to be there. And then Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez exploded, and they still cheated us to win. But that's
right.
We made it.
That we can brag about. We went to Game 7. We went to a Game 7 against a team that knew what pitch was coming every time.
Yeah.
Listen, one win from the World Series.
I'm not bragging about 2003 or like I'm not bragging about that. Like, we didn't win it. We lost to the Florida Marlins. I'm upset at that. I'm glad for a Yankee fan. We need championships. We don't care about nothing else but championships. Like,
that's why Hal Steinbrenner's not liked, because he doesn't give a crap like his father did. We don't care about these little berths. You think getting eliminated in the wild card game?
I'm going to remember that we don't care about these little berths because you're the same one that cared about making the wild card game that much. Like, you're not consistent.
When my team was alive,
you sound like Carl being inconsistently.
Greg,
consistently
inconsistent. Yes, there we go.
There you go. This is a reach. First of all, being happy about being alive in that moment and having your team play more games is different than being happy and satisfied are two completely different things.
I was happy that we got into the playoffs because I was like, just give us a chance and then we'll get there. That's what I was thinking.
The only reason I could have bragged was because you and Steph said that they weren't even going to make it there. That's the only reason I said, "Oh, look, they made it there," and then they lost.
And they lost to a better team at the moment. Our best team was on the IL.
Not even that. We lost to our biggest rival in their building in a one-game playoff game.
With your best pitcher on the mound.
After destroying them 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, sweeping them,
which makes it even worse. But let's move on. So Game 3, Dodgers back in LA. We got Walker Buehler on the mound against Charlie Morton. Who you guys going with in this game?
I love Charlie Morton, man. I must tell you that. I think Charlie Morton's big time, even though
I do think he's big time.
I think
Jersey kid.
I think Charlie Morton. I was going to say that he's a homegrown. I think I'm really about Charlie Morton and how I'm really impressed with him. I wanted him to be a Yankee. You know that. I mean,
I still want him to be a Yankee.
Yeah, I think Charlie Morton's big time, man. We seen him up close and personal all those years, and he's he has not changed. So I'll go with Charlie. Although Walker Buehler's no slouch.
So you're going with the Braves going up 3-0.
Charlie Morton is that good though. I think Charlie Morton's that good, and I think the Braves are that focused this time. They were up 2-0 last year, 3-1, and lost the series to the Dodgers. They're not playing around.
What about you? What about you, Deck? I know that's. I don't think too many people have the Braves up 3-0. So you may be on an island by yourself there, Josh.
Listen, you know what? Nothing he said was wrong.
He wasn't.
Charlie Morton, and Zane said he was big time in 2017. He absolutely was. But he's an even smarter pitcher now with age. Very similar to Greg with the A's because, he's a guy, Greg will tell you right now, he's a smarter pitcher than he was 5 years ago. And that sometimes that does translate to better. And Morton, in my opinion, is the ace of that staff. And now that they got their ace, They won the first 2 games. I think that the Braves can put up a good fight. However, I do think a change of scenery for guys like Justin Turner, down 2-0, heading back to Chavez Ravine. I think it's going to be in the Dodgers' favor. Walker Buehler he's in the top 3 in Cy Young candidates this season. He's got a chance to win it, although it might go to one of those guys in Milwaukee. But give me the Dodgers in a close one today. But I can respect every reason why Josh went with the Braves, making it 3-0.
I mean, there's no possible way the Braves should be up 2-0, right? Like if you look on paper,
I agree.
On paper, right? On paper, the Dodgers should be up 2-0. Little, for game 1, 9-3, game 2, 6-2, or something like that, and we're rolling back to LA. But the Braves are just they're scrap, and the fact that they're doing it without Ronald Acuna Jr.
We mentioned that on a Friday show and how important that is. I because of that, I believe their GM has to get GM of the year because what he was able to do at the deadline. And these guys are hungry. You could see it. Also,
is there a GM of the year award?
Yes, there is.
That's the thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. Also, coupled with the fact of some of Dave Roberts' questionable managerial moves in the pen, like bringing back Urias on 2 days rest. I didn't think that was the greatest move when you have literally a stable of closers in your pen for this exact reason. I didn't think that was necessary, and it bit them in the behind. It bit them in the ass.
Did you say a stable when referring to a bullpen?
Yes, I did.
You know how else had a stable? Nice Tampa Bay Rays. Like to see them eliminate. They had a boring stable of horses, as I said. I haven't been back since Shane McClanahan.
You guys are some really bitter Yankee fans.
I'm not a bitter Yankee fan, but I'm happy because I said the Rays pitching staff didn't match up to the others, and they showed their ass.
I love when the Rays get eliminated.
It's okay. It's just say I'm bitter, and I'm okay with it. Yeah. Like it's okay to be bitter. There's nothing wrong.
It was really hard watching them win a World Series. Wait, never mind. They never did.
Exactly. They always get.
They've been there a lot. More recent than the Yankees, so that's a thing.
They were there one time since 2008.
Okay,
and the Yankees were where one time since 2009.
One game within the World.
That's still not the World Series.
Exactly. Which is why nobody's bragging about not winning the World Series.
You're bitter. Just say that.
I'm not bitter. I'm happy I was right about the Rays. That's all it was.
Since the Rays have come
being right is not everything.
No, but it makes me happy
because you know how I know you're bitter because you said the one team that won a World Series.
Because I'm bitter. That's why. Because I'm bitter.
Then say it. Just say.
I'm bitter.
Is that?
That's not why I'm celebrating the Rays.
Why was that so hard? It's okay to say I'm bitter. I'm biased. Like these are things that it's okay to admit.
I'm not bitter. I'm biased. I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
See, that's fine.
I mean, I guess that is true. Like, what is there? In all fairness, biased maybe. Bitter a little. Bitter because I guess they've built a good, consistent team, even when they trade around their pitching staff in Tampa. So I respect that. They've been good the past couple of years. Lost to the Astros, lost to the Dodgers, lost to the Red Sox. They have been there, which is good for them. But being right is not the end all. But it's exciting sometimes when you get predictions right. Yeah. This is why I like Pick'em so much because it's fun.
And I totally agree because here's why I'm not bitter about the Rays. I'm not bitter about the Rays because we build our team differently. If the Dodgers are winning left and right, then I'm getting a little bitter because that's how we construct our teams. We construct our teams with a couple of $200 million hitters and a $300 million pitcher, and that's how we get to World Series and win. That's what we have to do. Now, I need baby Steinbrenner to get a little bit of his dad in his body and start paying some luxury tax and gets whoever it is
he hates do whatever luxury tax, boy.
He can't stand it. I know. But you know what? You bring up a good point. Like the Yankees, they really constructed their team like a fantasy draft. They drafted rounds 1, 2, and 3, and then went on auto pick for the rest of the draft. And they got a bunch of guys that play the same position, same-handed hitters, and it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And these are all boom or bust guys.
So they try to correct. And Declan, you're absolutely right. They try to correct it at the deadline, at the trade deadline, by getting 2 lefties. And which I think
was good. But one guy was boom or bust.
I think Gallo is more of a
I mean, this is enough Yankee talk. I'm sick of it, frankly.
We can do it all night, Greg. What happened?
Oh no.
If you had to bring up Yankee bitterness,
if
you know how bitter we are.
If we didn't have a Monday night game at 8:20, sure.
We got a lot of football to cover.
Yeah.
Sure.
But before we get to football, we got game 3, Astros, Red Sox. We got Jose Izquierdo against Eduardo Rodriguez. Who do you guys have in game 3? Deck?
First game back in Fenway should be big. I expect this game to be high scoring. Urquidy's good, but he is young, so we don't know if he's made for the postseason yet. Those rookie debuts in the postseason can be interesting. See Shane McClanahan for the Rays. Oh, and Shane Baz. There we go. 2 little Shanes that didn't get it done. But I am going to go with the the Astros in this one, just because I think that they're a high intensity team. That lineup really does play for October, and I don't see them going down 2-1 in this series. What's your take, Josh?
And this is, again, to be honest, I've always thought that Eduardo Rodriguez is not a good pitcher. I never thought that he was a good pitcher. I was just actually looking at his ERA. It's 6 at home.
Is that on the year or in the postseason?
This is on the year.
That is fantastic.
4-4 with a 5.95 ERA at home.
Yes.
So
the bitter and biased Yankee fan in me will admit that I'm very happy to read this.
I'm very happy about that.
The one thing I'll say about him, though, is that he is a good pitcher. Well, all right, I'm not going to say he's a good pitcher. He always had the potential, and hopefully he can be one of those post-hype guys like a Charlie Morton who comes alive later in his career.
Right.
But he has been inconsistent. Injuries. He had COVID and then got a heart issue because of it.
Right. I just think that pitching a lefty pitcher going against Altuve and Correa and Gurriel and Bregman is not.
Yeah.
That's not.
Lansdowne Street better watch out because a couple of those hanging curves might find their way over the monster.
Yeah.
He's an easy guy to pull. I wish we had the percentage on some of the stuff he does. He doesn't throw hard. He throws that sinking stuff and breaking balls, and he does have a lot of movement. So we'll see what kind of pitching that he brings to the table today.
I just know that if I'm the pitching coach from the Red Sox, pitching to Altuve anywhere but inside and up is where I'm going. Outside, up or down is where you need to pitch him. As Yankee fans, we know this all too well. He's hit a couple of heartbreakers on us.
The best way to pitch to Altuve in the eyes of Yankee fans is to put him on base.
Yeah.
That's the only way to put him. Just walk him. That's what pisses me off. You know what? I'm going to calm down. Why do they pitch to the Yankees? Why do they pitch to Altuve? I'm sick of them. Anyway,
before you go off on why they pitch to Altuve.
I'm not talking about the Yankees today. We're not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're not. No more Yankees.
Michael K. That's why I'm going to move talking about the Yankees.
That's why I'm going to move on.
Greg, now I'm going to get bitter, and I'm going to start attacking the Mets in a minute.
Yeah,
we had an interesting slate of games yesterday, right?
Yeah,
and we covered we highlighted some key matchups on Friday, and the one I really want to start with is Chargers-Ravens. And I don't think that went how anyone expected. Even if you picked the Ravens, I don't think you guys expected it to be that dominant of a performance. So, Deck, I'll start with you. What was your takeaway from that game?
Big game for the Ravens. I view this as more of I don't want to say more of a win for the Ravens than a loss for the Chargers. But more of a good thing for the Ravens than a bad thing for the Chargers. The Chargers had a bad game. That's fine. Played a really good defense. They're still a relatively young team, and I think they'll get back on track. But as far as the Ravens go, I think they just played excellent football. That defense is showing shades of the number 2 ranked defense it was last year. It'd be nice to see them stay on track and continue. Lamar is in the MVP race right now. He's having a great year. And who would have thought if he turns the ball over twice, they would still win by 30 points. I think that just goes to show you how good that team overall, both sides of the ball, is.
What about you, Josh?
I don't know what to make of the Ravens, to be honest with you.
Really?
I don't. I want to love them. I really do. I want to love the Ravens, but it's so hard to love the Ravens when this week I know they look like world beaters this week. They did. They look like world beaters, and I'm just not too sure about. And I guess what I'm talking about more or less is like when games get thick, when it gets cold outside, like who are the Ravens for real? Lamar Jackson as a quarterback has never won in tight games. He's never really won in those tight games.
He was doing that this season. He just beat the Chiefs in a tight game.
When I'm talking about tight games, I'm talking about playoff games It's on Lamar's shoulder. Going back to Louisville.
He just did that in Tennessee last year. What are we doing here?
We know who Tennessee is for real.
We do know. Tennessee did lose to the Jets.
We know who Tennessee is, but I'm talking about going back to Louisville when it's Lamar versus Deshaun, Clemson versus Louisville, like getting, he gets torched there. He's turning the ball over. He starts fumbling. This is the Lamar. I'm a Florida State fan, so I know who Lamar really is.
Or are you just chatting? Because I feel like you're just chatting right now.
I'm not chatting. I'm telling you
absolutely.
The truth. This is Lamar.
I think that he's in the postseason. He has had some duds, right? But I will say this season he has shown a different side to himself. Whereas, yes, the Chiefs were always his kryptonite. He went out and beat them. Say what you want about the Ravens playing competitive football with the Lions and the Colts. That is on the Ravens. Lamar had a bad first half, sure. But he did lead them back into that game, and it was a good comeback. And even down the field on the end of the drive, again, delay a game, sure. The Lions should have won that game fine. Granted, Hollywood Brown dropped just about everything in sight that day. But he did lead them down, and he has shown us that he has, that he
evolved as a passer.
Totally. He's evolved as a passer.
Have we seen the Chiefs this year? Like, I think you could insert whatever high school you want to play better defense than the Chiefs.
They do have a terrible defense. That is true.
You're dragging it. You said high school. You're dragging it.
It's not like Lamar Jackson is out here throwing balls into tight windows either against the Chiefs. He just has to outscore Patrick Mahomes. And that's what
you say that like that's some small feat.
but you know what's so funny about you though, Greg? When I said the same thing about Josh Allen and the Bills, it was like, oh no, they can't beat the Chiefs at all.
No. That's Josh. That is just his bias against Josh Allen and the Bills. Oh. He hates the fact that Josh Allen and the Bills.
I don't hate. Go ahead. Finish.
No, I really don't have anything much to say. I wanted to point this out.
I
agree with Carl. I love that this is like a more logical Steph today, and a guy that goes at you more than me. And I'm just sitting back and watching this go.
There was definitely some bias in that because I didn't think that the Bills' running game would show up. It did, all right?
Because of the Chiefs. What shows up against the Chiefs.
I love the Bills and Josh Allen. I picked the Chiefs to win that game too. Until Allen beat the Chiefs, I wasn't going to pick them. And I was wrong. It was nice to see.
I'm not a real believer in the Ravens yet. I got to see them.
But you're a believer in the 49ers. That's what you're telling me.
Oh, so we're going to go
He's
there.
a Niners fan. This is ridiculous.
No, I have to go there because that makes no sense. If you're a believer, you could be a Niners fan and still be realistic, but you're not.
Wait, but why am I not realistic? We played in the toughest division in football. We beat everybody outside of division.
Which makes it even more so.
The quarterback went down. I mean, this seems like a little bit of a deflection. We were talking about Allen and Lamar.
Yes, we weren't talking about Allen. We were talking about Lamar, and he brought up Allen.
He did bring up the Bills, and I got to say, Josh, that was excellent insight because I envisioned.
Well, you're only saying it's excellent insight because you love Josh Allen.
I say it's excellent insight because you do exactly what I thought you'd do, and that's talk about the Bills in the hallway in your school.
I don't understand the hoopla like about the we're doing like the. We're so excited about the Ravens.
Hold on. Because you're full of it right now, Josh. How can you say we don't understand the hoopla against the Ravens when Lamar against the Colts literally did something that has never, ever been done before? Ever. So how can you say you don't understand the hoopla?
Why were they down to the Colts in the first place?
Because of their defense, which I was going to get to in a second.
Greg, that's not true. They had 3 points.
That's definitely not true.
No.
That's ridiculous.
Hold on. In the first half, how did the Ravens defense look against the Colts? They made Carson Wentz
shredded them.
Exactly. So don't tell me that's not true.
But how?
That is part of it.
But
Lamar did not play well.
Part of it,
initially.
not the whole thing. Okay.
I didn't say it was the whole thing. But you cannot say it's not true when it's literally part of the equation as to why they went down big.
Well, you said the reason they were down was because of the defense.
Again,
that's
part of it.
That's not the full thing. You said it was. You said that was the reason. I said
in the past, to Josh's point about close games and tight games, Lamar would struggle when he got down big. He did, but this is a different Lamar. And again, he went out in the second half and showed that he could too shred a defense through the air and not have to rely just on his legs.
Now, I'm not talking about him not being clutch against the Colts. Like, get into the playoffs, Lamar. Then I gotta see it. Like,
bro. That's BS, and I'm gonna tell you why. Now, finish your point. Finish it, but I'll tell you why it's BS.
Here's the craziest thing about all this, right? We're hyped because the Ravens beat the Chargers yesterday, 34-6. But like, where was all this Ravens talk? Struggling against the Colts, losing against the Raiders, struggling against the Chiefs, struggling against the Lions. It took like a 60-yard kick for them to beat the Lions.
Bro,
the Lions.
Stop doing this because now you're just taking out the context. We know that Hollywood Brown dropped at least 2 TDs, maybe even 3 in that game, and that game shouldn't even have been close had he performed like the receiver he's been performing like in the last couple of weeks.
So that's the only player you have.
And to say
that is a good point. I mean, Hollywood Brown dropped those balls, and it did take a 66-yard doink to win that game.
Yeah,
I agree with Josh in the sense that I don't believe in the Ravens in a huge fashion, but I will disagree in that Lamar has performed very well this year. But
you disagree that he performed well?
I disagree that the claim that he's not been very good. He's been very good this year, but I agree that you got to see that down the stretch. That's fine. But yeah, Lamar is proven. He's evolved as a passer.
I'm not saying that he's not been good this year. I'm saying I need to see it in the playoffs. Like his sample size has been Raiders, Chiefs, Lions, Colts, Chargers.
Bro,
I really kind of only believe in one of those teams that they played. I don't.
Here's the thing. Why is it so hard to just admit that he is improved? Why you have to wait to the playoffs to see that he's improved? That doesn't make sense when he's literally showing you things that have not happened.
Here's what's not true about that, Greg, because you can and I'm gonna bring it back to baseball. Alex Rodriguez can hit 50 home runs in the daggone regular season. No one cares until it's the postseason. No one cares until it's the postseason.
So again, if you're gonna run with that narrative, two things can be true. You can say he still has to show it to me, and you can also admit that he's improved, which you're not doing.
He said he's played well.
No, he did. He's been giving him
crap.
You said he's played well.
I said he played well, but I need to see it in the playoffs.
And that's the issue I have. He's played well, but I need to see in the playoffs. Discredits what he's done already to the fact that he's improved.
No, but I'm talking about as it relates to the team, because we're talking about the team, right? So the team being 5-1 doesn't mean that much to me. I mean, the Steelers rattled off 11 straight last year. Like, that doesn't mean that much to me. Like,
damn right they did. And then what happened, Greg? What happened? Remind them. I told them
they rattled off 11 straight.
So while we could go back and forth with the Lamar, the Josh Allen, Josh, you're gonna be a staple on this show this season because you got a lot to say, and I got a lot to respond to as well.
Yeah, Josh, don't worry. How we do it here, our version of a call out in the sports hit list is to talk shit about somebody when they're not there.
Don't do that.
Out. Get used to it.
Don't do that, because then you're inviting more of that. So don't do that.
I am inviting more of it, apparently.
If you didn't like it the first time, don't do it on air the second time. Don't do that.
What are you talking about?
All right. Now, so the other big matchup in your division was the Cardinals and the Browns. And the Browns have a host of injuries, but do we think it would have even mattered in this case, Josh?
The Cardinals were hit by COVID. Didn't even have their head coach coaching, which is important, not because he's just the head coach, he's also the play caller. So like you don't have Cliff Kingsbury, who's the play caller and the head coach coaching the game, and they still destroyed the Browns. Not in Arizona, they destroyed the Browns in Cleveland. So like I think that alone, I hate to say it, but I was impressed. I mean,
wow.
I was impressed with what Arizona did. It made me feel better about the 49ers. I mean, we had them to a one-score game.
You guys played them really well. I will say that. You guys did play them really well.
Yeah, didn't play well on offense, but we had them to a one-score game with about 5 minutes left in the game. So I was not. But like I said before, I think that the Cardinals are for real. I do.
So, Deck, what's your take on that game?
Huge game for the Cardinals. Really great performance all around by that team. This is a team that is for real, the only undefeated team left in the NFL. And this was I don't want to say a huge test, because the Browns and Baker Mayfield have been very inconsistent lately. but a huge game to go on the road and beat a good team, a playoff team from last year, a team that is what are they for? They were 4-1 going into the game yesterday. So
I think so.
I'm
no. I think they were 3-2 actually.
3-2. They lost to the Chiefs and who else? Can't remember.
I can't recall off the top of my head.
But anyway, big game for them nonetheless. Myles Garrett, a week after he went sleeveless and got drug tested. Now he was able to. I don't want to say he got shut down, but they really limited him.
I think he had 1 sack maybe.
That defense got torched. I mean, he had 40 drops.
That's back-to-back weeks they've gotten torched. They got to figure something out. They're too talented to get beat.
The Browns were 3-2 going into the game.
Yeah.
They were 3-2. Oh, obviously they lost to the Chargers. I mean, you just referenced it. So that was their other loss. They've been destroyed by the AFC West. My take on it is Baker Mayfield is not that guy. I said it for the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to continue to say it. Baker Mayfield is he's branching into mediocre at best territory if he doesn't pick it up. He has too many weapons on that team at the receiver position to underperform. And yes, I know the defense. Apparently, Kaylee's telling us to clean up. Yeah, they need to clean it up. You know what? Because they're looking like the Cleveland Browns that we see in the toilet bowl in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking about the Brown. They're not looking like the football Browns.
Josh, I don't know if you heard my Browns take, but I said they're the team that's going to miss the playoffs in the AFC. And
absolutely,
I'm going to hold to that all season that the Browns are just going to brown and they're going to miss the playoffs because of it.
That's huge.
They have, a bunch of guys hurt. Who knows what's going to happen? But, excuse me. Now, before we get to the Monday night game, I do want to, Declan, shout out to you. This was a great idea. All right, so I'm going to let you start it off. But we want to go over our top 5 QBs through week 6. So, Deck, I'm going to let you start this off. Who are your top 5?
So I'm going to go in reverse from 5 to 1. But what I will say is this. Now, don't necessarily think that this means that, I'm not going to I'll tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers is not on this list. And Patrick Mahomes is going to receive an honorable mention. And don't think that I don't think that Patrick Mahomes or Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers is going to Carl's blowing up my phone. So I got to read that after the list. It doesn't mean that I think Rodgers and Mahomes won't be here at the end of the year or that they're not top 5 talents or some of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. But my 5 best right now, this year alone, from what we've seen, what they've done for their teams, their stats, watching film, everything. The 5 best quarterbacks right now in the National Football League heading into week 7 are number 5, I have Dak Prescott. What Dak has done in Dallas has been nothing short of excellent. He's taken that offense to new heights. They missed him, obviously. It's great to see him healthy, knock on wood. I know he was in a walking boot yesterday. Hopefully it's just a minor calf scare, which was what it seems to be, although Stephen Jones did express concern. But when you got a guy like Dak Prescott hurt, you're going to be concerned pretty much you're not going to be able to sleep for days until you find out he's healthy. That's how good he's been. He's completed 73.1% of his passes, 1,813 yards, 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. The only knock on him right now is that his QBR is 55.4, and that's a stat I do believe in. So I got Dak at 5. Coming in at number 4, I got Lamar Jackson. He's 67.5% completion percentage. He's been completing his passes very nicely. He's got 1,686 yards. The knock on him, the reason I don't have him over the guy I have next, this was something I don't want to say lost sleep over, but I was very close to putting him at 3, is just because he does have a 9-to-5 touchdown interception ratio. And that is something that is significantly below the rest of the guys on the list for now. He's added 2 touchdowns on the ground as well and has really taken that Ravens team to this 5-1 record and made some excellent come from behind victories. And he's in the MVP race as well. A guy who's in the MVP race just ahead of him right now is Kyler Murray, and that's who I got at number 3. Completed 73% of his passes. That really right there is huge. He was tough to put over Lamar, but judging based on the numbers, every number I'm about to name right now is better than the numbers I named for Lamar. He's got 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 picks, and a 68.0 QBR, which is the best out of anybody on this list. Lamar's was 62.6. I realize I didn't say that. So that's 5, 4, and 3. I got to say, Greg, I know Kaylee's been crying a lot, but I expected some more reactions after each player. That's all.
I'm just waiting for the full list. That's all.
Okay, all right. You're waiting for the full list.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. Coming in at number 2, we got Josh Allen. He had a really good year so far. Definitely, Vegas has him as the favorite in the MVP race. The Bills right now look like the best team in the AFC, if not football so far. They've really performed excellent, and he's been led by them. Statement victory over KC, completely blew them out of the water in Arrowhead, which is something very hard to do. And he's got 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, so a 12-2 interception ratio. That's huge. He's got 1,370 yards. So he's got, also for reference, he does have a game tonight. So he doesn't have as many yards right now as the rest of the guys on the list. I thought that was worth mentioning because he hasn't played that extra game yet. Coming in at number 1, who else but the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. When this guy plays football on Sunday. Also, sorry, Josh Allen's QBR was 65.8. When Tom Brady plays football, it's just different looking at him throw the ball. The guy is having so much fun every game. Not that it looks like a joke, but it looks like it's just baby food for him against some of the teams he's played. He's completing almost 69% of his passes. He's the first quarterback over 3,000 yards, and he's got 17 touchdowns to 3 interceptions with a 66.4 QBR to boot. Brady's the undisputed best quarterback in football so far for me over the past couple weeks, and it shows every time he takes the ball. So that's my list. Take it or leave it. We'll be back with that next week.
So the one thing I will say, I think at this junction of season, that you could go with a host of out of the first top 7 or 8 guys, you can any 5, and you can make an argument for them. So I'm not gonna kill you just yet. But I'm not too shabby 5. So Josh, what's your 5?
My 5 is maybe looking a little different, but along the same lines. So my number 5 is Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Lamar Jackson. Again, I think he is improving. I think I think that at times, that he's just he's a different kind of athlete, and I think that the way he's playing quarterback now by he's throwing into tight windows a little bit better. It seems like he's reading the field a little bit better. The 9-to-5 does scare me, but I think Lamar's definitely up there doing his thing. My number 4, and this pained me to say it, but I'll say it anyway. Number 4, I got Kyler Murray. That little rascal, man. He gets.
Don't height shame.
That was not nice, but it was funny.
He gets on the run and he goes. But I was tempted to not put him in the top 5 if he had another performance like when we played them, as in the San Francisco 49ers last week, because we kind of showed some of that kryptonite, which was keeping them in the pocket and not letting them get busy running around and do all that stuff. So, but he was my number 4. My number 3 is Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is, he's come back with a vengeance this year from that horrific injury. I think Dak Prescott will put the team on his back. I think he can do that. I think it helps that he has the receivers that he has, but I think that he also is putting the team on his back and he's doing his thing. Number 2, of course, we have similar 2 and 1. Josh Allen is number 2. I can't be hyping the Bills all this time without putting their quarterback up in the list. I think Josh Allen does it in rain, sleet, hail, snow. He is, he has a gun for an arm, and he distributes it to all his receivers and backs. And like you've been preaching the whole time, Greg, he does it without a running game. So I think that puts more pressure on the quarterback, dropping back, 50 times, throwing the ball, and the defensive line just pinning their ears back and going after him. So I think that's, Josh Allen's right there. And then number 1, obviously, is Tom Brady. I will not say much more about Tom Brady, but he is the greatest quarterback of all time. But I do want to add a couple of honorable mentions that may get lost in the sauce. Matthew Stafford is an honorable mention for me. He's been playing really well this year. He's been doing his thing. And behind, besides Rodgers and Mahomes, Kirk Cousins has been sneakily good this year. 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's been
Wait, real quick. Travis, I hope you're listening because you are the number one Kirk Cousins hater in these sports hitless streets. Even Kaylee rolling her eyes at you. But Travis, listen closely. All right, continue, Josh.
Yeah, it's Kirk Cousins has been sneakily good this year, man. I was wondering how they were so close with Seattle, and I went back and I watched like the full highlight clip of that game. He was pretty daggone good, man. Like he's Kirk Cousins. I also give him a lot of flack, but he's been playing really well, and I don't think their record shows how he's been playing. But that's why he's also not in my top 5. And then also I have Derek Carr too. Derek Carr's been playing really well this year. He has, given that Josh Jacobs has been out, given the fact that given the fact that also Henry Ruggs can't run anything but a go route, and they expected way more out of him. I do think that Derek Waller being one of the best tight ends in football, third best tight end in football, helps, but. I think Derek Carr's been doing pretty well too. So there's my top 5 and some of my honorable mentions.
Stafford's an honorable for me for sure.
So Deck, you wanted to address the comments real quick?
Yeah. Freaking Peter's been here 3 minutes and he's already pissing me off. I can't with this guy. No, he's right. How about them Cowboys? They had a great game yesterday offensively. And then Trevon Diggs, I'll say. But he's coming in. How about the Cowboys? I responded back in the comment section. I said, you beat Mike Glennon and Mac Jones the past 2 weeks. You'd think they played Mahomes and Allen, which is a true statement. The Pats are not that good of a football team. And he says the haters would have been coming for the Cowboys. Yeah, they would have, because they would have lost to the Pats. Of course they would have been coming for you.
That's a game they should not have lost.
And then he decides to hit a soft spot knowingly, saying your record says who you are. 5-1 says we are good. How about your team? Nobody was talking about the 1-5 Giants. All right, that's so annoying.
Deck, tell them why you mad, bro.
Because I'm bitter about the freaking 1-5 Giants. That's why I'm mad. It's unbelievable. What does that have to do with the fact that you played competitive football? You had a nice long drive, and then Mac Jones threw an 84-yard touchdown on the guy you said was the best corner in football.
No. Wait. I don't know what they were talking about in the booth, but he had safety help over the top. And if you look at the route the safety took to that pass, it was brutal.
He went for the ball. He went for the ball, and he never even had a shot.
I don't even know where he was going. Diggs turned to the inside.
It's on both of them, to be honest. It is on both of them.
I feel like Diggs turned to the inside because that's where the safety was playing. And the safety overshot the ball and the receiver, which allowed for the big play to happen.
I mean, I agree.
Listen. With the Cowboys, man, they do this every single year. They are lucky this year they play in the worst division in football.
Clinched.
They're lucky that they play in the worst, and it's not.
Is it though? I think the AFC might be a little worse though.
What AFC?
No, he's talking. He means the division, the NFC
East. No, the AFC East is not worse than the NFC.
Oh.
I don't think.
So. The Bills are much better than the Cowboys, and the Patriots are much better than Washington.
That's fair. I'll take that.
The Jets and the Giants have been about even. I mean, let's call it what it
Jets
is.
And Giants, and then Miami and Philly are the same, I think.
Miami has the potential to be good, but they're just not at all.
So
the defense is not the same.
I can't believe in the Cowboys.
So before I get to my list, before we get to the game, I'll give you guys my list. Number 5, I am gonna go with Dak. Similar to Declan, I believe he's a man on a mission. Stats prove it. Number 4, I'm going to go with Stafford, my guy. I wish Jared Carter's watching. Okay. And Josh, I've been advocating for this guy for like 2 years, and people have been shitting on me the entire time.
Yeah,
it's probably more than that.
He's a Ram now, so I can't.
Well said by Rick on the Diggs play, by the way, because that's exactly what
happened. Fair enough. 3, I'm going to go with Lamar. For all the reasons I do think you guys stated, and then some, I just think he's playing at another level this year, and I think it's going to continue. And I think he's going to put himself in the MVP conversation for the remainder of the year. It's not going to be like a Russell Wilson thing where he plays really great for 8 to 10 weeks and it kind of falls off the last 7 weeks. Deck, I know you hate that last game because the records are uneven.
Which game is this?
No,
the
extra.
But you know
game.
what I'll say? You know what I'll say I do like about it, although it throws off my OCD. I'm really sounding like a very happy person today. But the one thing I do like is I like the idea that we saw that Cowboys-Pats game. We saw that 2 years ago with Brady. It was nice to see it again. I hate that the Giants and the Jets play once every 4 years. I'd like to watch, as I call it, the toilet bowl, the two worst teams in football, really. I'd like to see the toilet bowl maybe,
every 2 years instead of every 4.
Yeah, like, you know how I am. I'd rather watch Yankees-Mets than Yankees-Red Sox. That's just the kind of matchups I like.
Yeah.
But Murray, Brady, and Allen, one of them's not there, and I'm interested to see. You named who? You named Dak?
Stafford. Dak, Stafford.
Yeah. Allen is absolutely not there.
I swear to God, if he's not there, you better read the list. Read the list.
Thank you. Can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was talking. I was being nice. I'm sorry.
All right.
Go ahead.
Now, I'm going to put, shocker, at number 3, Josh Allen.
Wait.
You got Stafford, Lamar.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I meant number 2, Josh Allen. Yes.
I swear to God, I was about to leave outside of this comforter if he wasn't on this list.
Josh Allen at number 2. I do agree with you guys.
Oh, okay. Kyler Murray doesn't make it.
That's surprising.
It is surprising. So here's the thing: Kyler Murray. Yes, we have Brady at number 1 because he's that guy. I think we all.
No one debates number 1.
Yeah, no one.
I mean, you could debate number 1, but I didn't think Allen.
I love that Kyler Murray's team is 6-0. I could have easily switched him with Dak. I'm just kind of going based on what Dak is coming back from. We saw this with Kyler Murray last year. I want to see a little more from him going into this list could literally change from week to week. Like when I spoke to you last week, Deck, I had Justin Herbert in my top 5.
Likewise, I had him at 4. Two guys. Remember how I told you? Sorry to interrupt. I told you in the chat on Tuesday. I said I have a different last 2 guys for you. Yeah. Those last 2 guys were Herbert and Stafford. Neither 2 are on. It was Herbert and Dak. Stafford. I was tempted to put him in, but I do disagree. It's razor thin. It really is razor thin.
It is.
Kyler, Dak, and Brady.
Like literally, Kyler could go from being my number 6 to my number 2 next week based on how he plays.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's a knock on Kyler. I love what he's doing out there. But I just think, like you said, it's razor thin. I'm impartial to Stafford.
Yeah.
And there's definitely bias there. So you can split hairs all you want. That's where I kind of flip the coin there. And I love to see what Stafford is doing, finally having a full team of weapons at the skill position around him.
I agree. It's so exciting to see, and it's nice. It's nice to see him getting the love he deserves. But the one thing I'll say is, and this just goes to show you how razor thin it really is that the 3 quarterbacks on the list out of Dak, Stafford, and Kyler, the one who had the biggest dud was Stafford. So I went with consistency of that.
That's a fair metric.
Dak went toe-to-toe with Brady in his only loss, and he played good in every game for the year. I think Kyler's been better than Lamar, Dak, Herbert, and Stafford. And I think, although the one thing I'll say against my point is that Kyler didn't have the best game against San Francisco, but that was one of those games where they just did what they needed to do.
So that's where I kind of like, okay, if he played better, I would have given him the nod over Dak at 5.
I feel you. I understand. And there's nothing wrong with being a little biased towards Stafford.
Hey, there's a little guy. Facts.
Look at this, guys. I mean, give me some time, all right?
Oh, Josh, just in case you didn't know, Deck is in his college dorm, and he's going live from his bunk.
It would have been alarming if I had an answer to this too, but
yeah. So
give me some time.
You guys are probably the 2 biggest Josh Allen fans in the sports hit list, right?
Yeah, and then the game is coming on in about 10.
Yeah, so let's get to that real quick.
We got Peyton and Eli to watch.
I know. You guys, I'm assuming you're both taking the Bills, right?
I have the Bills, yes.
Of course.
I have money on this game, not like gambling, but I'm in a weekly pool. Well, I guess it is gambling. Legal gambling. A yearly pool. And so far I'm in second of 32, and I've won. If the Bills win tonight, I win 3 out of the first 6 weeks. So I'm happy about that. Broke boy college budget. would be nice to tap into that a little bit. I'm sick of the dining hall food already, and it's been a month. So hoping for the Bills.
So Josh, why do you have the Bills in this game?
Well, it's quite simple. I believe in Josh Allen. I believe in Josh Allen. I believe in Josh Allen.
Spread the word. Spread the word. You know what I was told? I was told last year that he was average.
Well, this is before he went on his
While he was going on.
Before he was going on his run, I said he did nothing to deserve top 5 praise when you were giving it to him. That is what I said.
I gave him top 5 praise when
at the beginning, you said coming into the year, Josh Allen is a top 5 QB.
Last year,
and we went nuts. That is why we reacted.
That's not what I said. Hold on, listen.
What did you say?
What I said was that he'd be in the MVP race. First of all,
which is even insane because he did nothing in his first 2 years to warrant that even.
Because I knew what was going to happen.
Well, so
Josh, does that not sound like somebody calling a prediction and getting it right? I didn't say it was top 5.
It sounds like calling the Matthew Stafford prediction a few years ago too.
That's exactly what it is.
I don't want to hear any response. Hold on. No.
That's a knockout punch, Josh.
Matthew Stafford being in the MVP race 2 years ago.
You said that he was very good.
I said he was a very good quarterback that had nothing around him. Josh Allen was very bad his first year, and he was mediocre his second year. Going into his third year,
that sounds like an improvement every year.
There was no reason to think Josh Allen was going to be in the MVP conversation.
They just added Stephon Diggs, and I had faith in what he could do.
You went out on a limb. That's what you did.
No, I didn't go out on a limb.
Because I just say he was going to be in the MVP conversation with Brady, Deshaun
Watson. My laptop's dying, and I can't come back. I got to let you.
After being as bad as he was, I wish he could hear this. I hope he goes on his phone so he could hear this. But Josh, now that you're here, you also said that you have faith in Josh Allen, right? Again, Lamar has shown he can do more in less time, in the same amount of time in the regular season, but yet you have to see more in the playoffs than Josh Allen. So what are we doing here?
So here's what we're doing here. So number one, I feel like the Bills are a better constructed team. When we were talking about the Ravens, and I put all the pressure on Lamar, it's because I think the Ravens need Lamar to be absolutely great in order for them to win the AFC. When I'm talking about Josh Allen, I'm saying the Bills have a better constructed team.
Okay, that is a measured take.
Josh Allen to be like Superman, but he also plays really well. Like he has better offensive weapons. Yes, he does. That is a fair take. And the reason I got on Declan before he left is because he made it seem like just getting Stephon Diggs automatically put Josh Allen in MVP conversation. Yes, he was right in hindsight now, but that's like me saying Stafford getting Megatron is going to be in the MVP race with how bad his team was. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a crazy take. Yeah, it came to fruition and he'll never let us forget it. But at the time, it was still a ridiculous thing to say. Right. Now, as far as my take on Friday, I had said if the Titans could control the clock with Derrick Henry, I could see them playing keep away from Josh Allen and the Titans kind of, pulling off an upset. However, after going back and thinking about this over the weekend, I might have to rescind this because I'm thinking about this Bills defense and in particular their secondary. And I remember you said this against the Chiefs, and you made a great point. Their secondary is elite. And I don't know what Julio's going to be like coming off the injury and 2 weeks missed. That's a big deal. Is he going to be able to perform, like Julio Jones? Mm-hmm. It's great that they have A.J. Brown opposite side of him, but who is that third guy? We don't know who that is for them. Right. So for that reason, and especially with the reemergence of Emmanuel Sanders and Dawson Knox, who all of a sudden has become a top 5 tight end in the league out of nowhere, I'm going to have to take the Bills in this one. Good call.
Are you like a pseudo Bills fan? Is this your new favorite team in the AFC?
No. I mean, it's my favorite team in the AFC for sure. Like I think they play good ball. I think the Chiefs were a fraud. I always felt like that. And because I feel like you just cannot win on one side of the ball. Like you have to have two sides of the ball. And their defense have gotten progressively worse, not better. Their defense over the last 2-3 years have gotten progressively worse. And, I think the Bills they're the most complete team. I think the Ravens are close second, but I think the Bills are the most complete team in the AFC. Not in the NFL, but in the AFC for sure.
So I just have to address Deck real quick. He said that's why I just put Allen ahead of Lamar on my list. Again, this list is ever changing. It can literally change week to week, right? The margin I have between Lamar and Allen is razor thin once again. And the reason I put that is kind of his performance against the Chiefs. Both, like, if you compare the two performances, Lamar and Josh Allen, I would be a fool to say Josh Allen didn't have the better performance, because then I'll be being biased, something Declan doesn't like to ever admit until he's called out on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I have that razor thin margin. Right. But from what Lamar is showing me, he's showing me that he could be in the top 3 of that if he continues to play how he played against the Chargers. Yeah. And in the second half of that Colts game.
Agreed. And I have to end on this. I will end on this. If Josh Allen gets Lamar Jackson in the playoffs at home, I think Josh Allen wins in a blowout. If Josh Allen gets Lamar Jackson at Baltimore in the playoffs, I think one or two things are going to happen. Either the Ravens are going to win closely or the Bills will win closely. I don't think Ravens can blow the Bills out. I just don't think it can happen.
I mean, I can see that as speaking in week 6. Yes, I could see that. Before we go, a couple shout outs. Got a shout out to Chicago Sky and Candace Parker on their WNBA championship. That she's now a 2-time WNBA champion. So shout out to her. And she's her resume is exquisite. She's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. Walking Hall of Famer. And I have to give my flowers to my brother, who is an LSU fan. This pains me. This pains me because I was talking a lot of smack from like 3 weeks ago how we weren't going to win. And I'm going to say this right now. Dan Mullins not benching Emory Jones after the Kentucky game is going to be the downfall to our season. So, yeah.
Good luck.
I mean, as long as we're not as bad as the Seminoles, I'll be okay.
That will be another talk for another day.
Yes, it would.
I have Captain Bath time.
Likewise, you see here, somebody's tired here. Thank you guys for putting up with all the baby shenanigans. We appreciate you. Check out the Fan Zone tomorrow, 5 p.m. We have the Sports Hit List Wednesday live show at 4 p.m. with Carl. And whatever guest he has on, we never know. It's always a revolving door of guests. And then we're back on Fridays at 4:30. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. All right. Appreciate you guys for hanging with us. Josh, thanks for popping in.
Thank you.
All right.
Anytime.